Ready to live at the higher vibrations, where peace, love, joy, and good health are the daily standard? That's what this show is all about. Welcome to Vibe. And here's your host, Robin Openshaw.
Hey everyone, it's Robin Openshaw. Welcome back to your Vibe show. And today I want to talk to you about a little slice of my new book that's all about what you think supplements are and what they really are, because the divide between them could not be bigger. And this was a shock for me. It took me a few years to really prove this to myself, to where I was even willing to go out and say this kind of thing in public. And then I had a co-author work with me who he didn't even take vitamins at all or supplements. And he had just kind of come out of the COVID era and was open-minded to this, but I would give him research subjects and he would find the exact same things that I had been finding for the previous years that had caused me to save a lot of money. And that's what I'm hoping here for you, is that you save a lot of money. It kind of feels like the rug gets pulled out from under you, and the things that you thought were your tools to make you well get taken away from you. And that's not what I want. But on the other hand, if I'm taking stuff that's actually taxing my kidneys and my liver, I want to know about it. If a lot of the problems that people are calling an oxalate problem, or the reason why about every other city block I see a new kidney dialysis place go up, is partly because of all these pills that we take that most people think are natural, then we need to be talking about it. And since nobody else was talking about it, I was like, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do the research. So today, let's talk about that your multivitamin isn't what you think it is. Okay, most supplements are truly, when you get down into it, you find out they're just repackaged industrial waste. So let's talk about the $20 bottle that promises the world. We've been told that our multivitamin is a safety net, right? It's a little daily insurance policy for nutrition. We picture bright fruits and vegetables concentrated into a capsule. Nature's goodness minus the chopping. But what if that colorful image couldn't be further from the truth? What if that pill you swallow each morning is closer to something from a chemical lab than a garden? Because multivitamins are not made from food, but from coal tar, acetone, petroleum solvents, rocks, and a whole lot of industrial byproducts. So, how did supplements go industrial? The irony is painful. The very same companies that make chemotherapy drugs and fertilizers also make your quote unquote vitamins. I have to use air quotes to say vitamins because I no longer believe that narrative. The base materials often come from waste streams, whatever's cheap and abundant and won't kill you quickly. And there's some molecular overlap, and that's how they get away with it. I had to ask AI programs, and I had to Google the heck out of this to figure out how they get away with it. It's literally because they've been getting away with it and nobody's stopped them. And once it becomes a billion-dollar industry, it takes either an act of God or an act of Congress to root it out by the roots. The lumber industry's sawdust becomes cellulose. Okay, people see cellulose and they might be aware that that's a filler, but they don't really realize that they're literally talking about sawdust is one of the ingredients in their supplement. Ore mining leftovers become quote unquote minerals. Petrochemical solvents extract quote unquote nutrients. Then everything's bleached and blended and pressed into the snow white pills that we think are pure. The whiter they are, the more people like them. Marketers have figured out they sell better if they're white. Certainly a very homogeneous color. All of it's very efficient. It's profitable. These products last a long time in the supply chain, and it's actually perfectly legal the way our regulatory agencies are set up. So vitamin by vitamin, here's the ugly truth. Let's look at what's behind those scientific sounding names. How about vitamin D? You think that it's called cholecalciferol. I would argue that cholecalciferol and vitamin D are not the same thing. It's derived from the grease in sheep's wool Or for the vegans, it is lab-grown algae, and it's processed through about 5 chemical steps. Vitamin C. You think of vitamin C as ascorbic acid, but I do not whatsoever consider ascorbic acid to be vitamin C. Usually, it's made from a GMO corn byproduct processed with acetone or isopropyl alcohol, and the vast majority of it is made in Chinese manufacturing facilities. Vitamin A, created from acetone, that's nail polish remover, by the way, and processed palm oil, not from carrots. Vitamin B1, B2, B3. All three of them are made from coal tar, ammonia, and formaldehyde. Vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. Okay, now there's adenocobalamin and there's a few other methylcobalamin, but none of them are much better than cyanocobalamin, but it's a synthetic compound combining cobalt, which is a heavy metal, and cyanide. You take it in small enough doses, you're not going to always notice the difference. But when I started posting about this, some people started to comment, this is why I throw up when I take B vitamins. Folic acid is known as vitamin B9. Well, actually, folic acid is a petroleum-based toxic imitation of the natural folate that's found in leafy greens. Would you feed your child anything described that way if it didn't come in a shiny bottle labeled vitamin? The math just doesn't add up. Do the math on your vitamin C supplement. A bottle of 1,000 milligram tablets costs maybe $50 at the most for 250 servings. That's 20 cents a pill. If that were really the concentrated nutrition of 10 oranges, which is how many it would take to get 1,000 milligrams of actual vitamin C, you'd be getting $10 worth of fruit for 20 cents. And yet the pill is bright white. It's not orange. When was the last time you saw a white orange? The truth is, if vitamin C pills were actually made from food, they'd be orange or some bright color, and they'd cost as much as food does. Make sure to read Take Daily How Supplements Hijack Our Health. I spent hours educating my co-author, Mike, who has never taken supplements, and then he went off to research and he was totally mind blown. Let me tell you why the science sounds so convincing. We've been trained to equate sciencey names with credibility. So pyridoxine sounds smarter than banana. We read cholecalciferol and assume that must be the real vitamin D. It's not, though. It's an industrial replica that mimics 1 or 2 molecules of a vitamin found in nature, but none of the cofactors, enzymes, or living synergy that make food-based nutrients work in your body. The supplement industry knows this. You can learn it yourself. Go ask ChatGPT or another AI program what all of the parts of vitamin C are, to the extent science even understands it. But why tell you when the illusion sells so well? Ask AI how they get away with it. It'll tell you in so many words, well, because they've been doing it for so long and no one's stopped them. So my big wake-up call was a bag of solvents. After 2 decades of eating clean, detoxing twice a year, and taking more supplements than most people take in a lifetime, I finally put my faith to the test. During a detox retreat that I hold every year at the Swiss Mountain Clinic in 2024, I underwent enusphoresis, which is a medical filtration technique that removes metals and chemicals from the blood. The result was nearly a quart of shimmering waste. It was clearly full of petrochemical solvents and residues filtered out of my bloodstream. I was shocked. I eat a 95% organic diet. I don't take pharmaceuticals. So where did all that come from? The answer in hindsight was obvious. Decades of health supplements. Solvents are involved in virtually all of them. Most solvents are petrochemical. Science confirms that the hype is hollow. Multiple large-scale studies show that multivitamins don't prevent disease, extend life, or improve your health. A 2013 Annals of Internal Medicine editorial titled "Enough is Enough, Stop Wasting Money on Vitamin and Mineral Supplements" analyzed data from hundreds of thousands of people. Its conclusion: multivitamins do not reduce the risk for heart disease, cancer, cognitive decline, or early death. In fact, daily supplement users had a 4% higher mortality risk than non-users of supplements. Yes, higher. Sometimes the data is much, much worse than that, including being linked to higher risk of cancer and all-cause mortality. Don't miss the chapter on vitamin A and beta carotene intake daily. But aren't trace toxins safe? Supplement manufacturers like to say that trace amounts of heavy metals or solvents are harmless. But whose idea of acceptable are we trusting? The FDA's own acceptable limits for contaminants are based on incomplete data. They're sort of arbitrary, and the FDA doesn't test supplements before they're sold. Meanwhile, thousands of small brands simply white label the same formulations from the same chemical factories, changing only the label design and the influencer endorsement. What does your body actually want? Your body doesn't crave isolates. It craves synergy. It doesn't recognize cyanocobalamin, falsely called vitamin B12. It recognizes food. It doesn't need 1,000 milligrams of anything. It needs balance. Whole foods already contain vitamins in perfect proportions, wrapped in fiber, enzymes, and color. That orange, carrot, or beet knows how to nourish you in ways that no capsule can mimic. So, your wake up challenge tonight: go to your cabinet, pick one supplement, type one ingredient into a search engine with the words "chemical processes used to manufacture," insert the ingredient's name. Read what you find. Then ask yourself, would you eat that if it hadn't been sold to you by someone you believe knows more than you do about your health with a healthy looking label? The takeaway here: the multivitamin myth is one of the most expensive illusions in modern health. The same companies that sold us safe and effective drugs are now selling us natural and essential vitamins using the same factories, solvents, and marketing playbooks. It's time to trade the capsule for a carrot. There's no way around it. The bottle for a blender, and the fairy tale for the truth. If you're ready to go deeper, this post is adapted from chapter 2 of my book, Take Daily: How Supplements Hijack Your Health, by yours truly and my friend Mike Fairclough from the UK. It is the investigative book that Big Pharma doesn't want you to read. It's a book that just might save you thousands of dollars a year and save you a lot of strain on your kidneys and liver. And I'll see you next time.